comes from executive producer Lilian Garcia. Every athlete is on this quest. Every performer dives in head first, battling real-life challenges and overcoming obstacles in an effort to make their dreams reality. Singer, speaker, and 15-year WWE host Lilian Garcia was the first woman to ever announce WrestleMania and is now the PFL MMA cage announcer. Oh, yeah! And now she's giving you an all-access pass to the human interest stories of elite athletes, extraordinary entertainers, and wellness experts. Now, let's embark on another fascinating journey of chasing glory with your host, Lilian Garcia.
Okay, obviously I'm not Lilian Garcia, I'm Trish Stratus because this is a Stratus faction takeover because you know why? Because it's our host Lilian Garcia's birthday today, so I have to be here to celebrate with my bestie, and I thought I would kind of like take over her podcast. I took the camera, I took
What are you
thought
doing?
that I would do a little thing.
Did you just start without me?
I did, because I had to let everyone know that this is a day of celebration for you. So we are here to celebrate you today. As well as offer you an amazing podcast.
Oh my God.
It's a good day.
Thank you.
It's
It is a good day.
Yes.
I love birthdays.
Listen, I wanted to be here for your birthday because
Thank
you
you.
have been by my side for just about every major moment of, I was going to say my career, but almost my life as well. So, yeah.
Talk about SummerSlam? Yes.
Like SummerSlam. Like when I
man.
came through, so I had a tremendous match. I walked through the curtain and he was there.
Well, of course.
Yes.
It's so funny when you called me and you told me you were doing SummerSlam, and I'm thinking to myself, I gotta get to TO.
We call it the 6 now.
The
So
6,
cooler.
yeah. You don't say the TO?
I've
been sitting there posting
It's a
TO,
little
TO.
old school. We call it the 6 now.
I'm
It's
so
like
not
when you're
with
like,
the
I'm on
times.
Facebook, you're like, we're on Instagram.
Oh my God.
It's
All
fine.
my
It's fine.
posts have
As
been
an
TO.
honorary Canadian, a friend of a Canadian, it's fine. And a husband, you're fine. You'll be fine.
Why the 6?
Because, well, Drake has coined that term.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Drake thing. There's 6 boroughs, and we all, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Oh, all
Yeah.
homage to Drake. Which I actually saw that post that you did was really cute when you're sitting on the tower.
I was got reviews from the 6th, and I did I put my face on his face, and yeah.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, but I do want to know really quick, how did it feel for you to have your final match, SummerSlam? It was tremendous, by the way.
Thank you.
It felt really good to watch it in the gorilla position. And of course, I got emotional afterwards, of course, because I always do.
Yes, she does. It felt great. It was. Everything about the moment felt like this is a proper moment of finality for my career. I felt like, getting in there with Charlotte Flair, the representative of her era, representative of my era, in Toronto for the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. It just felt like it was the right time to do it. And everything, at first I felt like it was like my big comeback match. Yeah. And then as I did interviews through the week and the media just, oh my gosh, so much love and support from the media all week long. And the fans, and I realized it was no longer my comeback match, it was my farewell match. And that made, added some emotion to that. But it just felt like everything was in place, and I feel like I needed a nice bookend, and that was it.
You got it.
Yeah.
And you also were followed around by WWE cameras because you have 24 coming out.
Coming out, yes.
October is what I hear.
That's the word on the street, yeah. So stay tuned, trishstratus.com for an update on the actual release date. But it's been fun. Telling the journey, telling the story, and then the cool thing is like what has been, in the beginning was when I got the word of going to SummerSlam was finding that balance between WWE superstar and mom and businesswoman. How am I going to manage this?
Yeah.
And so they documented that, and it's kind of cool. It's a kind of a neat perspective to see like what one goes through, and then that's what the story, what that show is about, anyways, is the journey and seeing how we get through this. But it was cool.
That's awesome.
It was really fun. Yeah.
Well, congrats.
Thank you.
That's awesome. But I do want to know something.
Yes.
Why the bathroom? Why are we in your bathroom?
It's the quietest place. The kids are sleeping. It's the quietest place in my home. I have a lovely chandelier in here. I don't know. I thought maybe you would tell us a bathroom.
So funny. I've been looking for you. I've been talking to Ron, and the whole time I'm like, wait, where is she?
I don't know what I thought. I was going to, do the whole thing myself. I figured you'd try and find me. So
yes.
But we have an amazing interview tonight.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We've got Adam Cole.
Yes.
He is incredible over at NXT. What him and Johnny Gargano just did at Takeover was unbelievable. You have to go back and watch it if you haven't seen it, and if you have seen it, watch it again. It is worth it. And so get to know Adam Cole now, all different. By the way, if you guys want to see this is also on video. Go to youtube.com/Lilian Garcia with one L in the middle, And then make sure you go to Instagram at Chasing Glory Podcast, and my Instagram at Lilian Garcia, and Instagram and Twitter. Yeah. And yours is
Trish Stratus on all the platforms. Yeah, you guys have to go watch it because you have to see my chandelier.
Yeah.
in my bathroom.
I love it. All right, without further ado, here we go. Here is Adam Cole's journey of chasing glory. Although extremely passionate about pro wrestling, it was a complete accident how Adam Cole fell in love with it. As a youngster from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Adam was actually a karate student when one day he arrived early to a session and saw his instructor watching a tape of Monday Night Raw. With his mother's permission, his instructor would let him borrow a tape of WrestleMania 15, and the addiction began. He became a die-hard wrestling fan until he saw WrestleMania 17, and by the time he finished watching, he ultimately knew he was destined to become a pro wrestler. At the age of 18, he would enroll at the Combat Zone Wrestling Academy, and after less than a year, Adam Cole would make his in-ring debut in a battle royal at the historic ECW arena. He would quickly make a name for himself at many of the top independent wrestling promotions, such as CZW, Shikara, PWG, and was named Rookie of the Year in 2010 by the Wrestling Observer. He would sign a contract with Ring of Honor, where he would go on and make history by winning the World Championship a record of 3 times, and became the first person to win the title at a non-Ring of Honor event when he did so in front of 26,000 fans at the Tokyo Dome. There is no doubt that Adam Cole became the hottest commodity in the world of independent wrestling. After accomplishing everything on the indies, it was time for Adam Cole to make his mark in the WWE, and immediately made an impact at NXT Takeover Brooklyn 3 when, alongside Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, attacked Drew McIntyre and were dubbed the Undisputed Era. The 3 would be a staple in NXT and would be victorious in the first ever War Games match under the WWE banner. Cole would make history when he became the first ever NXT North American Champion in a classic 5-star ladder match at NXT Takeover New Orleans. The accolades would continue at NXT 25 when he defeated Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship and would be the second ever NXT Triple Crown Champion. There is no doubt that his career has been nothing short of undisputed, baby. It's about to get real, raw, and inspiring with Adam Cole. And here we are. I'm so excited. In my presence is NXT Champion. Oh my God, superstar Adam Cole. Welcome to Chasing Glory.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on here. I was so excited the second you asked me about coming on. Yeah. So to get to chat with you and talk to you about anything and everything will be great. I'm looking forward to
that's
it.
Awesome. Thank you. That makes me feel great.
Of course.
Our friend Josiah Williams helped set this whole thing up. I don't know if you know that Josiah and I did a song together.
I did not know that.
Did he tell you?
No, he didn't tell me about that yet. Okay. He didn't tell me.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
We have a duo called, a duet, I guess. It's called Now.
Okay.
And it's all about taking action now.
Oh, cool.
And then we are now working on a full EP. And I don't know, the way we keep adding songs, it might be a whole album by the end of it.
Probably.
But he's just so awesome.
He's amazing.
So, of course, he had to tell me before it was out to the world. He called me. He's like, I've got a secret to tell you. And I'm like, what? He goes, I'm going to be singing Adam Cole down to the ring, or rapping him, right? Yeah. I was so happy for him, and he killed it.
He did amazing. The funny thing is when he first released that video on Instagram, Roderick Strong was the one who found it and said, guys, you have to listen to this. It's awesome.
Okay.
And we all listened to it, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're sharing it, telling him how awesome it was. And we said that day, how cool would it be if for a big takeover, he got to rap us down to the ring. So for it to be Takeover 25, the Takeover I won the NXT Championship, and then him to rap me down to the ring, it was so cool, so special. He's the man.
I was literally at home, like, with goosebumps, and just like, I could just feel his energy, and he's such a good dude.
He's amazing.
So you want to see him succeed, too.
Of course.
Which is the same about you.
Oh, thank you.
You have such a, like, heart of gold, literally.
I try.
You have a, which I want to know, because sometimes, you know, people turn out this way and sometimes they don't.
Yep.
And a lot of times it is your upbringing and all of that. So of course I want to get into that. But first of all, I got to congratulate you on your match. This is the day after TakeOver, Toronto. Incredible. Adam, I'm not just saying this, and I hate to always pick favorites because I've seen a lot of matches, and I get asked that all the time, right? Like, what's your favorite match? And I'm going, I don't know my favorite match, but I know the moment that The Rock and Hulk Hogan were staring off at each other like forever.
Right.
And they didn't do anything. They weren't moving.
Crowd's going wild.
The crowd's going crazy. And then the crowd dies down, and then they're still staring at each other, and then crowd brings up, I'm like, that's incredible when you can magnetize a whole entire crowd by just staring
with a look.
The look that kills.
Right.
But match-wise, dude, goosebumps from head to toe from last night. That was ridiculous.
Thank you.
I can't even believe you're standing here.
I know. Yeah, I'm definitely incredibly sore from that one. I don't know how many of those I have in me, but this trilogy with Johnny was so important to me and to him because we've known each other for like 10 years.
Really?
So we had talked forever about getting the chance to maybe wrestle on a really, really big stage like NXT. And when I first came to NXT, like for that first year and a half, we hadn't touched at all. And this feud started almost as a replacement to Tommaso Ciampa because Johnny and Tommaso were in the middle of their big feud. So then they needed a big main event for WrestleMania weekend, and they were like, okay, let's do Adam and Johnny. And then it turned into this crazy trilogy that had its punctuation mark last night and ended all in that wrestling street fight and then crazy steel cage match. So, but it was a lot of fun, painful, but a lot of fun. And Toronto was great. I love wrestling in Toronto.
Toronto crowd,
so they're the best.
They are, right? They just absorb it. Oh my God, they're so crazy.
Yeah.
First of all, who were your producers for the match?
Yeah, so the two gentlemen involved were Michael Hayes and Shawn Michaels, which again, Michael's great, brilliant.
Yeah.
Normally he's involved in producing my matches. Shawn Michaels is involved in every one of my matches.
He is?
He's like at the Performance Center. I go and I work with him directly. A bunch of us do, and he's kind of like a mentor for so many of us right now at NXT. So he takes a liking or makes sure he has his hand in everything that we're doing. And lots of times the best thing about Shawn is he lets us, it's not like he's going, this is what you should do.
Yeah.
He lets us kind of come up with what we think, and he'll get excited about the stuff that we come up with. But then randomly, if we're stumped on something or we're like, this would be cool, but we're not crazy about it, he in the matter of 5 seconds will go, oh, what if you did this? And it's amazing and so much better. So it's awesome to have those two there to pick their brains and kind of create. They played a big part in creating what we created last night, for sure.
So when you came through the curtain at Gorilla last night, I know a lot of times it can be where it's like, well, you need to do this right and this right and this right and this right.
Sure.
I know, I know it's not meaning. Sometimes you want to hear did I do anything right first?
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's all in good intention of just making you better.
Of course.
How was it when you came through the curtain?
It's the best. So generally speaking, every takeover, especially that one yesterday, when we got to the back, everyone was applauding, happy, hugs, handshakes. But the first question that anybody who came up to me asked was, are you okay?
Yeah.
They were making sure about that first. And then when I told them I was fine, they said, incredible, thank you so much for doing that. And it's funny you say the criticism thing, because I'm always someone who's like, anything that you saw?
So you look for the criticism.
I look for it, because I obsess on, like to me, I've never had, and I know everyone feels this way, but I've never had and will never have a perfect match. But I'm going to try so hard to get it.
Dude, you can't tell me you don't think that was perfect.
No. I'll find 10 different things that I'm like, oh, I didn't like this, or this could have been a little bit better. I'm proud of it, for sure, and I'm happy with it.
Okay.
But I don't think I've ever had a match where I'm like, yes, from start to finish, that was exactly what I wanted.
Okay.
But sometimes that's not necessarily a bad thing either.
Yeah.
So
what, out of the 10 things, what is the one thing that you're like, oh, that could have been better?
Okay, example. There was a point which was challenging. We told a knee story in that match, which we paid attention to it for sure. But we also had certain aspects where it was very challenging to protect the pain in my knee with the things I had to do. I had to do some climbing, but then at the same time trying to make that believable. I don't know, it's so interesting, you know, like going through things or doing things that you would like to do, like climbing, but at the same time protecting that I want everyone to know my knees bothering me. So that's one thing in my brain that I'm thinking when I watch it back. I haven't watched it back yet, but when I watch it back, I'll be like, maybe that could have been a little bit better. I just have that feeling.
Are there times that you feel like, wow, this was great, you watch it back and you go, oh, it's not as great as you thought, or vice versa?
All the time.
Where you beat it up and you were like, damn it, and then you watch it back and you're like, that was really good.
All the time. Generally speaking, which it's so true for me, that if I have a match I really enjoy, if I can avoid watching it back, I won't watch it back.
Okay.
Because I know I'm going to find things I don't like.
Yeah.
And then really, for the most part, if I have a match where I'm like, gosh, oh, that was awful, or I didn't like that at all, and then I watch it back exactly what you said, it's like, okay, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it was
so
bad.
Then I feel a little bit better. But yeah, if I have a match I really enjoy, I very rarely anymore watch it start to finish.
Me too, and I'm not talking about the match, I'm talking about singing.
Sure, yeah, because you want to remember it from how you remembered.
Felt it.
Yeah, exactly.
From the feeling.
Exactly.
From the feeling that I had and from the feeling that the crowd was giving me.
That's
and
all
I don't
you
want to
need.
ruin that moment.
No.
By critiquing this and that. You can always find something.
Of course. And we always do that too. We always find
Worst
times
critics.
to improve, and we're our own worst critics.
Yeah.
So now if you have a little moment that you can just enjoy for what it is, I think let it be. It's good for your mind, I think, too, because we're already so hard on ourselves. So
where do you go from here? Like, seriously, from last night, that was crazy. First of all, NXT, I mean, I'm sure it's been an unbelievable experience for you. Yeah, because you have wrestled everywhere. You have done so many different promotions. You've been wrestling for like 11 years.
Yeah.
So, wow, the fact 11 years, people think, overnight success. No, it took me 11 years to get just here at NXT, right?
Yeah.
What does going to Raw or SmackDown mean for you?
It's something, obviously, for me, like when I think of my like childhood dreams, of course that's something that in the back of my mind, I would love to have a WrestleMania moment someday. I always think that. But at the same time, and it's no knock whatsoever on Raw or SmackDown, but I'm so incredibly proud of what we're doing in NXT.
You should be.
That I'm not even thinking about going to Raw or SmackDown. And it doesn't mean I don't want to go someday.
Right.
But I'm so into, even the 2 years that I've been in NXT, to see the growth in the brand in that 2 years, I'm like, I want to be a part of this as this thing and this storm just keeps brewing and this brand keeps getting bigger and bigger. I want to be involved. I want to be a guy who feels like I was part of that process. There's something so exciting about being part of something's growth and feeling like you're a part of that. Right now, pretty much all I'm thinking about is how happy and proud I am with NXT and how I want to do all that I can to make that brand as big as I can.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think you're getting a lot of people's attention.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
the goal.
Even with Chasing Glory, I've only interviewed Aleister Black and Bianca Belair from NXT before Aleister went over to Raw. But it was like starting to catch my attention too. I'm like, wait, I've been focusing so much over here. There's a little something brewing over here I got to find out about, which is why even before last night, I was like, I got to get Adam Cole. I want Adam Cole. Now, even last night, I was like, I want Johnny Gargano. I have to get Johnny. I've got to get, like, there's just Mia I want to interview. There's a lot. There's a lot that I want to interview and get to know better. And I remember last night, right afterwards, I text Triple H, and I'm like, congratulations, because what he is doing is tremendous for NXT. What he's building there it's incredible. So one thing that I wanted to tell you away from wrestling was something that as I'm researching that I found out about you, I was like, oh, this is cool, and this is kind of why I can tell I like him already. Scuba diver.
Love scuba diving.
Me too.
Love it. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And unfortunately, too, and this is something, I've only gone probably like 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
And it's any time I've gone to, different islands or things like that. But to me, it was the most relaxing, cool. Like if I could tell a story really fast. I remember the first time I went, I was with the group and we were down looking at coral reefs. And I decided to kind of wander off by myself. And I went a little bit higher up and I was looking off in the distance, and there looked to be like a big fish, and all of a sudden, thousands of little fish started swimming like around my body. It was like a body form, and I was like, this is the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It was so awesome. I love scuba diving.
Yeah.
To me, for anyone who hasn't gone, it's just it's like another world.
It really is.
It really is. It's awesome.
I just surpassed over 50 dives.
Wow. Wow. So much more of a pro than me.
That's how much I love it.
Yeah.
And that's how much I get it. So when I saw scuba diver, I'm like, we have to talk about this.
Yeah.
It is another world. To me, like, it's escapism,
It
right?
really is.
Of what's going on here.
For sure.
But I had that encounter as well. I think it was when I was trying to remember what island I was in. Well, first of all, Cayman Islands you need to go to Cayman Islands. They have some of the best cave diving.
Oh, that'd be cool. Okay.
Going through the caves and you can get as wide as you want or as narrow as you want.
Okay.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, if you're claustrophobic,
that's what I'm
might
assuming.
not want to go.
Right.
But some of the big caves are incredible.
Yeah.
But there was one particular, I think it was Hawaii, where all of a sudden, same thing, surrounded by, it was one class of school fish and then another and then another and then another. I'm looking around, I'm like, I just got put into an aquarium.
Yeah. Seriously. It's like you're the one inside the aquarium now. There was a split second when the fish were swimming past me and going in this direction. Part of my brain thinking, I hope there's not a really big fish chasing these fish.
That's true.
There was like a small part of me.
Is there a shark?
Because it's amazing, but it is incredible how vulnerable you feel at the same time. Like if something chose to... And I know it doesn't, but if something chose to come after you, I would feel so helpless. But fortunately, there was no big fish.
Yeah.
It was just...
Would you ever do a shark dive?
I have.
Oh, you have?
In Australia.
Okay.
Yes. So, but I was inside a
cage?
like a cage.
Okay.
Or a container. The sharks were there. Like there was nothing between me and the sharks, but it wasn't like in the ocean or anything like that. But I remember doing it in Australia and saying, hearing other guys had done it before, and I'm like, oh, I'll definitely do it. And I remember getting in there, and to this day, I think it's the fastest my heart was ever pounding. They were so much bigger than I imagined, too. Like, even from outside, they looked big, but getting in there, I was like, oh my God, this is horrifying. Which, of course, they were so not bothered I was there. They didn't even pay attention to me. But me, I'm like, if it chose to get angry, like I would just be screwed.
Try the Bahamas.
I need to do that.
So there is one in the Bahamas that's absolutely amazing. One of them actually just went by and grazed my arm. They were like, don't take pictures like this. Like, really keep your hands in and take a picture like this. So I was like this, and literally he just went right by me.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't scared though.
Oh,
it's
good.
Wild. It's so wild. Like such a peaceful thing, but
Yeah.
definitely the Bahamas.
Okay.
All right, so
Cool.
let's go back. Time
Yes.
to go back. Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That is where you were born.
Born and raised.
All right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
tell me about life there in Pennsylvania. And Lancaster?
Lancaster, Pennsylvania. But I'm from an even smaller town, Manheim, Pennsylvania. I graduated with it's a very small town, small class, like less than 100 students in the graduating class, like really small.
Okay.
Amish everywhere.
Yeah.
Which it's awesome. I remember when I was younger, I was like, oh, I can't wait to get out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania and move to like New York or Los Angeles. And now that I travel so much, and now I live in Orlando, but I miss Pennsylvania so much.
Appreciate
like,
it.
Like
yeah,
I can't wait
through
to.
that. It is wild with the Amish around.
Right,
yeah.
right. Horse and buggies everywhere.
Yes, it's like you went back in time.
Yeah. One time coming home from a show this is kind of off topic, but coming home from a show at 2:30 in the morning, I passed 19 horse and buggies. So I have no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
But my drive home that normally took 30 minutes took like, an hour because of the delays of getting around. But Lancaster's beautiful. I love the city. The city itself is growing more too. But it's just we talk about relaxing. Like to me, it's just a quiet town. And something I miss. I love seasons. Like I miss with Florida. It's kind of hot all the time.
Yeah.
It's beautiful January, February, and then it's super hot in the summer. So and all of my family is there, which is I'm really, really close with my family. So I have a younger brother who's a year and a half younger than me.
Okay. What does he do?
He works in like construction or flooring as well. He kind of does both.
So wrestling never caught him.
No, he liked it, but never enough to want to pursue it as I think he watched it because he's a great younger brother, but I think part of the reason he was interested in it is because he knew how excited I got. So he'd want to watch it with me because I made him excited by how into it I was.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's always enjoyed watching it and supporting. And then, incredibly close with my mother. She's probably, again, when I think about someone for the longest period of time who has just been there for me through everything. I remember too when I had told her I wanted to pursue wrestling.
Yeah.
And she, in the best way possible, I could tell how worried she was, but she wanted to let me know if I worked really hard, she'd be supportive of it. So for the first, 4 years of me wrestling, I'm making barely any money.
Right.
It's $50 a show if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Still living at home. But she saw, as long as I was training hard and working hard and driving all over the place, she was all about it. She would come to the matches. So then when I finally did, get here or achieve this, like she was at Takeover last night. She drove, 8 hours to the show or whatever. So it's cool. It's cool. And both of them were there. So that's why I can't wait to get back there, which will be great.
How hard was it for her to watch that last night?
Tough.
Yeah.
That one's specific. She's okay with the wrestling matches. She'll worry about a fall here or there. But, the weapon stuff, she's not crazy about.
Did you tell her there was going to be things?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. But she was pretty adamant. So her thing, especially when it's a big championship match or a takeover match, I think she loves coming to support. So I warned her ahead of time. But I don't think I told her about falling off the cage. So I think that was the thing that really got, I'm like, I'm warning you, there's going to be weapons and things like that. But the second I was able to tell her I was okay, then that made her feel better.
Yeah.
So, I think it's, to me, honestly, long term, I think it was better that she was there so I could tell her more quickly I was fine, as opposed to her wondering, how's he doing? How's he doing?
Yeah, and actually physically see you. That
Sure.
you're actually walking.
Right, he's walking. Yeah. That's got to be so hard for a mom, huh? To see your son falling how many feet through tables from a cage or getting
because she's
hit.
also probably saying to herself, I've supported him. God, please don't let me support him into something that's going to hurt him.
Sure. Right.
So put you in that position. You know, you want to support, but God, you want to protect your kids too.
Of course. And she understands too, and I told her this, and she knows that this one was really, really important. It was a really special thing to do to kind of end this saga that me and Johnny had. So she didn't want to like it, but she understood it. It's not like, I think it'd be a lot different if I was a wrestler where every week I was having matches like that.
Yeah.
Then she would not be supportive whatsoever. We're just worried about her son's health. But
how was your Twitter feed? Must have been blowing up.
Yeah. People were pretty amped up about it. People who really enjoy hardcore wrestling seem to be really pro the match. People who've been pro me and Johnny's feud or rivalry really seem to like it. Twitter can be a really cool place.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes social media can be a place where it's
dark.
Like, oh man, I can't look into this too much. But sometimes when you're on there and you read compliments or nice things, it can really lift your mood and think, oh, cool, I'm glad that so many people all over the world really, really enjoyed the art that we just gave them.
Right.
So it can be really cool,
I was on there last night going,
oh
my God, did you guys just see that?
Amazing.
Like, this is bonkers. I think that's the word I used.
Bonkers,
Bonkers.
I think me, you, and Johnny Gargano are the only three people I know who use the word
bonkers.
bonkers. I say it all the time. I say bonkers all the time.
Good.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, so you've got your brother, and that's it? Just you and your brother?
Yep.
All right. How was it for you being an older brother?
It was cool. So my parents, when I was 9, they went through not a nasty divorce, but a divorce. And there was a time where so I got to preface this by, my dad is wonderful now. And we get along, not quite as close as me and my mother are, but he's a great guy who means well. But at the time, with my dad going through the divorce with my mom, I think he was battling with some stuff, and he had kind of taken it out on me. And then me being upset about the divorce and feeling like my dad was taking it out on me, I kind of took it out on my younger brother. So we've always had a good relationship. There was just a weird year period where me dealing with my parents splitting and me being angry, so then I'd be angry at my brother, and we weren't. But I think through that we got even closer, which was nice.
Have you talked through that with him?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And he knew that too, because he knows that at that point my dad could kind of be, he was just hard to, my brother remembers the way he was. My dad would drink a lot, which was the biggest issue.
And that right there alters his mood.
For sure, right,
Yeah.
right. And I get, but looking back on it now, I get it. It's got to be so difficult with two kids. I was 9, he was 7. Them going through this divorce, not sure if they actually want to go through with it, but they know that they should. He starts drinking. Just to deal and cope with that, of the the fact that you have 2 kids who you have to take care of now and figure out this split custody thing. It had to be so stressful,
Right.
which I totally get. So yeah, again, I would be angry at he would say some things that he was always very, especially in that phase, he was very against wrestling.
Oh, he was?
Very much so.
Why?
He thought it was a giant waste of time. There's no chance I was ever going to make it.
Oh. And he was there last night?
No, not my
okay.
stepdad or my mom's boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there last night. My dad wasn't there, but yeah, he used to you need to be realistic. I think it's absurd that you're not going to pick something like some sort of college to go to or something like that. Which, not that there's anything wrong with college. I was just so sure I wanted to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
I started wrestling when I was a senior in high school, so I was ready to go. But I never forgot that, and we have since talked about that.
You have?
And yes, and now he is incredibly supportive.
Okay.
So he's amazing, and he's come to a handful of matches before, and he'll tell me he'll watch like a big one. I don't know if he saw last night's or not, but he'll let me every now and then when he watches the shows. But yeah, we've since discussed that. So, and he explains, which again, interesting perspective, but he told me, which I had never thought about it this way. He goes, I just want you to imagine this as your father. He said, you were so obsessed with wrestling and so convinced that you were going to make it that I was scared if you didn't make it, what you were going to do. Oh. He's like, I was so afraid that you were going to become this like depressed or like internal, like if you didn't make it, I wanted you to have a backup plan of some sort or something. But I was just so determined to want to go after it and pursue it.
But it's wild to hear his perspective on that.
Yeah, which kind of again made me think it was kind of in a thoughtful way. I think he just handled it poorly because of the words he chose.
Yeah.
But seeing where he's coming from, I was like, oh, I hadn't looked at it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what life is so much about.
Yeah, right.
Is that we don't look at the perspectives of where somebody's coming from.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we just think it's a complete attack or they don't believe in us or whatever.
Yeah.
And yet he's just trying to protect you in case you don't make it.
Exactly. Wow. Which is such a cool... You're so right, though, because there's so many times where people say things, especially with parents' relationships with kids, where they're exactly what you just said. They're just trying to protect, and it may come across as the time that they're against you or not helping you or not there for you.
Yeah.
But it couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
Because when he explained it that way, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes total sense.
Or sometimes it's even like if his own fears.
Yeah.
Right? Like he could never see himself making such a leap and making it or
way.
whatever. He's like, there's no way. I mean, I had this dream. You never know, right?
Yeah.
He could have had a dream that didn't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. He knows what it feels like not to have that dream come true, so he wants to protect you from having a broken heart.
For sure. Well, you know what I think it comes down to also is my grandfather, his dad, was an aspiring musician.
Okay.
And very talented and would travel and play, but never made it. And he went to drinking and I think all the time talked about how like, oh, I wish I could have made something. So he thought, oh, here's my son now. When I dealt with my dad dealing with this, here's my son now who's telling me that he wants to be a pro wrestler for WWE. He's 5'9", so I think he was really worried because he dealt with it from the son perspective with his own dad.
Yeah.
So I also think about that too.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
That's crazy when things are broken down like that.
I know.
But at the time now, you still, with all that anger, how were you able to get through that anger?
Yeah. So I took, when I was I would get really upset with when he would present things a certain way. But I put as much effort and energy as I could into I got serious into weight training very young, like 12. I remember I was really crazy about, like, because I saw the Triple H workout book, and like, this is what you should eat. So I would start, and I had wrestled in school and things like that too. So I would start exercising really early. I would watch wrestling over and over. When my dad and my parents and even myself, when I say I was obsessed, I was so obsessed with wrestling. So many times, anytime I was bothered by anything, I would just go in my room and watch a wrestling tape. WrestleMania 17, one summer, I watched it every day. The whole 4-hour pay-per-view.
Oh my God.
On a VHS tape. I would wake up, play the whole thing, and then do whatever that day. But the whole event for 3 months. It just every day.
Wow, that is obsessed.
Yeah, very obsessed. So I think now all the time that if the WWE Network was around when I was a kid, that would have been such a bad idea. I would have never left a computer screen.
Yeah.
You know, back then it was a VHS or DVD, and it was on TV 4 hours a week or whatever.
Yeah.
But now with all the programming, I would be
obsessed. Well, it was just like last night, right? Takeover's over with.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, I'm putting on, or Seth Rollins Chronicles came on, so I'm watching that. And then Raw Reunion, I'm watching that. I'm like, all right, I got to step down this black hole.
Right. You just get sucked in.
You get sucked in.
Yeah.
It's just what is it for you? Like, what is it that spoke to you about wrestling?
So I remember the first time I saw Stone Cold Steve Austin come to the ring. And it was, here's this, so I was taking karate lessons when I was younger. Yeah. And I loved karate.
And you love Bruce Lee.
I love Bruce Lee.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a big reason I started taking karate. And I was so into it that I would get there early and I would stay late. And my instructor was wonderful. He's a great guy. And one day I got there early and he was watching a taped Monday Night Raw. And I was kind of watching it in the background. No clue what it was. No idea. And he went, "Oh, do you watch wrestling?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, all the time." Because I wanted to fit in with him so bad.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, cool, great. He goes, "Well, have you seen WrestleMania 15 yet?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Well, if you get a written note from your mom, I'll let you borrow the tape and you can watch it." So I went home and begged my mom. I'm like, "Mom, please, you got to let me borrow this tape." She goes, I guess she figured if this cool, very nice, respectable karate instructor was like, "This, you can watch it, that it can't be that bad." So anyway, we watched it, put it in, and I just remember when Stone Cold's music would hit and he would come to the ring and he would do anything and 20,000 people would go insane at his every move. I was like, "Oh, that's the coolest human being on the planet." I just thought he was the coolest. Yeah. And then, fast forward 2 years later, at WrestleMania 17, the one I watched every day, that was the first time I ever got goosebumps. In that moment, I decided I didn't want to just be a fan. I was like, "Oh, I have to do this as a job." Yeah. When his music hit in the Astrodome and then 67,000 people did what normally 20,000 people do, it was the first time. I didn't know what was going on. Being a young kid, I was like, "Why do I feel this way? What's going on?"
You don't know what goosebumps are.
Yeah, I'd never experienced it before. So that was my first goosebumps moment. And I just, in that moment, was like, I have to be a wrestler. I have to do it. So I think seriously, again, to answer your question, that was a long-winded response.
I love the long-winded. No, this is great. I love all the little details.
The connection with the audience and the wrestler is unlike anything in any sport. There's such a cool organic thing that happens where, again, lots of times when we're in there, like when I was in there with Johnny yesterday, and when we're fighting and the crowd's cheering, it really makes us get through it. Like I know it's a performance, and I know I understand all that, but when you're tired and it's 40 minutes in and we're seriously beaten up, but when they start roaring, it really makes you feel like you're invincible, and it's such a cool. It's such a cool feeling.
You guys went for over an hour.
I think it was 54 minutes.
Oh, I thought it was
almost an hour. Okay. Almost an hour.
Holy moly!
But just seeing looking out into the crowd and like a big, let's say a false finish, and seeing friends like look at each other and be like, is the coolest. I love it. It's the best. It's the best.
Do you remember the first time you got goosebumps when you were actually a wrestler?
Yes. Actually, like when I was performing, when I got goosebumps. So I'd say my first year, I was too nervous to get goosebumps.
Okay.
Like, I remember when I would go out there, I would almost black out. I was so scared. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I would blow up instantly too. Like in the first 30 seconds, I'm dying. Oh, I can't feel my legs. Because I was just so nervous. I cared so much about it. But there was a time where I used to go to Ring of Honor shows in Philadelphia all the time as a fan.
Yeah, because they were right there.
Yeah, they were right there. And this building that we went to was the Philadelphia Armory, and I would go there all the time. And I had just recently signed with Ring of Honor, which was a really big deal for me. And it was my first match in ROH in Philadelphia in that building. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I ended up having 2 matches. And Roderick Strong, the guy who's in the Undisputed Era with me, I wrestled him in like a hardcore match that was just thrown together that day because someone else was hurt.
Oh, wow.
So he beat the snot out of me. I mean, Roderick's an intense guy, so he brought it that night. But I remember, I got through that match, and then I stood up, and then the people kind of slowly, like one person stood up over here, and then another person, and I got this standing ovation in Philly in this building I used to go to, and I started to get teary-eyed, and I got goosebumps. So that was the first time I can remember being so lost in it, where I was like, okay, I can actually enjoy this for what it is and really appreciate it. So that's one that really sticks out to me. I remember that. That was cool.
Painted in such a way I can totally imagine it. I can see it. That's amazing.
It was cool.
When's the first time that you actually felt like you were getting into the rhythm of it?
Yeah. I think for me there was a phase, probably 2013, 2014, where there was a point where I was actually the Ring of Honor World Champion and the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla World Champion, which is a big independent promotion out in California, at the same time.
Okay.
So even when I was like, I had held championships at this point, I was wrestling for different companies and places, but when I got to a point where these companies that were respected decided to give me the ball and have me main event their shows, I was like, okay, I'm definitely clicking. For me, also being a babyface was nothing that ever came supernatural to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw like even hints last night. You're like, you're one that's kind of wanting to be a heel.
In the middle, right.
You're like in the middle, but you are definitely, I could say like, man, somebody give him the whole, go to heel and you will.
Yeah,
why?
For sure.
Why is it? Because you, look, I mean, right now, even talking to you, you just have such a nice persona about you. You're so friendly. Your look is amazing. Why is it the baby faces?
The creative freedom as a heel to me is so much more valuable.
Okay.
Like when I think this is kind of, so even a promo, for example, I feel like as a babyface, of course you can have great, amazing, creative babyface promos, but as a heel, there's just so much more you can say, so much more you can come up with. To me, it's so much more fun to get a room full of people to be angry at you or against you than it is for them to cheer you. And I know even now, because I get asked this all the time, lots of nights when I come out, they will just cheer me like a babyface.
Yeah.
Because they respect what I've done and
Right.
the journey it took me to get here and all that stuff. But my goal, as long as throughout the match, they start cheering for the other guy more, then I feel like I've accomplished what I'm going
last night was
after.
definitely both.
Sure, right.
You had
right.
that whole,
So, the back and
Johnny chant, and then
Right.
it was really cool. When I see that, I'm like, man, this is so neat. That the crowd is like invested in both of you.
Sure, which
That's
was
what
really
makes it-
fun.
yeah.
Being a heel is so much fun. It's so much fun. Yeah.
Some people say they can't take the criticism or the even online how it can get mean. How do you handle that, being able to separate? Because even I had Melina on here, for example. She was on Chasing Glory, and she said that when she was a heel, she loved playing a heel. But when she was a heel, some people would believe it so much that then the hate she got online, she was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a heel as a person.
Right, I'm playing
heel
on TV.
But I'm not this mean girl.
Sure.
So how do you separate the two?
I've recently, so when I first started wrestling, it really meant everything to me what the internet thought. Because at that point, wrestling on the independents, your only real buzz was online. It wasn't in the arena. You'd wrestle in front of 200 people tops, so it's not like the world was talking about it. You would hope that word of mouth people would speak highly of you. And it mattered to me so much that I would have like a match that I loved, and the guy that I was working with loved, and the boys in the locker room loved.
Yeah.
Even fans, but if 2 or 3 people would say, that sucked, that was so terrible, then the match sucked to me. And I was like, I gotta stop doing that. Like, it's ruining my perception on what is fun or what I'm enjoying or what I know is good. Like, there are certain things, too, where you gotta, it's the classic, if 99 people tell you it's amazing and one person goes, that's the worst thing I've ever seen, you're like,
you focus on that.
Come on. So now it's crazy. I seriously barely ever, I'm like the worst Twitter person ever. Like, I'll have it and I'll tweet every few days because I know it's important.
Yeah.
But I really don't check too much what people are saying. I kind of just stay away from it.
That's smart.
In general, because like you said, there are some really mean things that people can say.
Yeah.
And again, that's the thing too. People are entitled to their opinion. I think people are more than welcome to go, yeah, wasn't that crazy about it? Or, you know, that's fine. But it's when people take like really hard, like crazy, I wish this person wasn't alive, like that type of stuff.
That's ridiculous.
That's like, okay.
Yeah.
Just
taking it to another level.
I can't imagine, I guess, I don't know, I'm so different. Like, I can't imagine watching a movie and then going online and being like, this movie sucked. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo.
Shutter Island, trash.
Yeah,
I can't imagine doing that.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio is my favorite actor, by the way.
Is he?
Random fact. Yeah, he's the greatest.
Why?
His what's the word I'm looking for? His well-rounded, like, he just has so many different roles he's played. He's done the dreamy teenage boy Titanic thing, and then like Wolf of Wall Street, Aviator, Shutter Island. He was amazing.
Yeah,
he's awesome. His angry face is so real to me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some people, I mean, and generally, of course, actors are great at seeming angry, but he seems like a nut job when he's mad. The way his face is and spit comes out of his mouth. I just believe him so much.
To the point where I'm like, I could never see myself dating him.
Right?
Like, you know how girls are like, oh, if he would only notice me. And I go, don't really want him to notice me.
Right.
Because I think that side would scare me.
Right. Oh, for sure.
If he has, you know, who knows?
Which is the thing I feel like he has to, but maybe he's just that good of an actor where he only lets that out when he does his movie roles, so who knows? Yeah.
So going back to, and the only reason I'm asking again about how you shifted from the anger is in case somebody's in that place.
Yeah.
Right? Someone is going through something like your parents, you know, divorcing and all, and there's so much of that nowadays. Mm-hmm. How you were able to get to the other side to not be angry for forever, because or for years. Brian Kendrick's another one that shared his story and shared how he was so angry with his father that it ended up where he brought it to work at first.
Okay, yeah.
And so I just want to get your perspective.
Yeah, so I was really fortunate in the sense of when the divorce was happening. Again, of course, as a son, trying to connect with your dad or make. Me wanting him to make me feel better when he was going through something, even though I'm the younger one. Yeah. But then with the drinking and everything, it was kind of hard. So again, my mother was so incredible with being there for me and putting up with me, because I would lash out at her all the time too. I was just an angry kid because of this divorce that was going on. Right. So I was incredibly lucky that I had two very patient parents. The relationship with my brother really grew. I had friends that I would talk to about it. I think too, sometimes when a situation like that happened, of course you have was it my fault? Like, did they get a divorce because of me? Kids
often think that.
And both of them were very, very great about letting me know that it wasn't me. And the truth is, even if your parents don't tell you that, it's not you.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Yeah.
So just making sure you surround yourself with people who love you and will listen to you and be there for you, because it's hard, even for someone older going through their parents splitting up and getting a divorce. But I think too, I remember this feeling really cool is there was a phase after they had split and my dad was with his third wife and my mom was with another guy, and I remember feeling like I had two of everything. Like, it was I had two Christmases and 2 Thanksgivings, and because I was loved in every area. So it was almost, some people could look at it as like, oh, it's so sad that your family is apart for these holidays.
At the gain.
I had 2 families, which again, I got so close with my stepmother. I would get so close with my mom's boyfriend. Yeah. So it was such a cool. Again, these were just more role models for me. Like my stepmom was, again, an amazing stepmother who took great care of us like we were her own kids. Mm-hmm. So it was like having 2 moms, and then same with the dads. But just trying to glass half full the situation and say, hey, it's pretty cool that
that's awesome.
You get 2 of everything and you get twice as much love. And they were so much happier. That was the thing. When they were together towards the end, I remember laying in bed and just them thinking they're being quiet.
Right, and fighting.
And just fighting and fighting and fighting, and then wondering what's going on and just being so worried. And then being able to go to sleep, and both of them, no matter whose we were with that night. I think it was Monday and Wednesday was my dad, Tuesday, Thursday my mom, and then switched on the weekends. But them laughing and going to sleep and laying there and going, I don't hear anything. And they went to bed happy and they woke up happy. Like, I recognize it's not worth it for your parents to stay together if they're going to fight all the time.
No.
So they were both much, much happier, which is good.
I've never, in this entire time that I've ever been doing interviews, speaking to friends, or anything like that, have I ever heard anybody put it as to how much you end up gaining, like the 2 Christmases, the 2 whatever, 2 birthday celebrations, right?
2 birthday celebrations, yeah.
So I thank you for that, because to me that's a huge thing to take away, where
I think so.
People can look at it, again, it's perspective.
For sure.
Look at it a completely different way.
Because again, really, and I know I kind of said this already, but just the relationships that I was able to build with these other people. Like my dad is not with the stepmother that I had mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. But she's someone I still talk to. She's a wonderful woman. Like, I gained that relationship in my life. And she'll message, oh, I just saw you did, I'm so proud of you. You seem so happy. And I would have never met her if my parents had stayed together and were angry at each other all the time.
Yeah.
So both of them are much, much happier. And now, they have a relationship with their kids and things like that. So it was absolutely for the best.
That's awesome. Does your brother come to see you?
Yes, he does. Yeah. He does. He was so upset because I didn't tell my family. I kind of found out last minute, but I didn't tell my family I was winning the NXT Championship when I was. Because I knew they were coming. But my brother was like, oh, I can't make it. But if I would have told him, hey, it's the night I'm winning, then he would have, worked harder to go. So he was really upset at me. He was like, I love you. I'm so proud of you. But damn it, why didn't you? How could you not tell me that?
And then you were like, oh, shoot, I didn't realize you would have changed everything.
Right. Yeah, I just thought he couldn't make it,
Okay.
So, it was a long trip. He had just come to one. I get it. He's a young man who needs to live his life also. So, but yeah, he'll come to the matches, and that's one of the coolest things too, is getting to see them and hug them and talk to them after you're done wrestling, or getting to see them in the crowd and things like that is always so cool.
Oh, it's a special
having
connection.
Family there is the best.
For sure. I mean, I remember even my dad, he recently passed away, but him being in the front row and watching me even, sing or announce or whatever, it just, there's nothing like it.
There isn't.
Yeah, and my mom right there with their proud faces.
Yeah. That is
great.
the thing, the way that they, like, looking out in the audience, and I don't know if it's just because we know them, but watching the way that my mom looks at me, which generally I'll make eye contact with her one time because I'm so in the zone.
Right.
But just to see, like, it's just such a glowing, proud face, which is just the best. And then you feel like you're just zoned in on them for that 1 second. But it's so cool to have them there. It's the best.
Did you have a hard time, the fact that you had that issue with your father growing up, that you were always looking for his approval?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Did that make you fight harder, though?
I think so, for sure. I definitely went through that phase where when he was against me wanting to pursue wrestling, at first it really upset me, and I was like, but I never had that, maybe I shouldn't do it. Like, not once. But you're right, though, as time went on, and that was continuing to be said, I was so determined to prove him wrong. That's why I started weight training when I was younger. My dad, I remember he came downstairs one morning, and I was counting almonds and egg whites and all that at like 14 or whatever. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, in this Triple H book, this is a breakfast I'm going to have and do this. He's like, you're a psycho. What are you doing? But even then I was careful about what I ate. And I was like, I'm not going to, I told myself if I don't make it, I don't want to say, I would have made it if I would have tried this a little harder, if I would have done that a little more. But I actually think I did work harder because of him being uncertain about me doing it. I kind of wonder if both my parents were like, yeah, honey, you'll make it. Go for it. If I would have been a little lazier, I don't know. Right. I'm not sure. I mean, I was so focused, so it's hard to imagine not being like that.
But it could have given you that extra
that little burning
10%.
Yeah, seriously.
That made the difference.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you have to look at those things as the freaking blessing.
I know.
The blessing that got me there, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
Now you keep talking about Triple H, and now here you are working with Triple H.
I know.
Like,
I know.
how did that feel, like the first time you met him?
It's bizarre. There was a guy, again, for years and years and years I had watched on television. Yeah. And then, but more important, like meeting him and seeing how passionate he is about his guys. Like, NXT is his baby. Yeah. He is so proud of it.
I know.
He
should be.
loves all of his guys. Yeah. For him to be as fired up and as motivated and passionate as he is 24/7 all the time is amazing. It's like he doesn't have an off switch. Right. I've never seen him like just do whatever. He's always fired up and ready to go. And this could be really cool. He's a great boss. He's a guy who he leads by example. He's someone, again, who him and Shawn Michaels are two of the most passionate guys I've ever met in wrestling still, which is so cool. It's contagious for sure.
And you worked with Al Snow. Al was my guy.
Yeah.
He and I were buds forever.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Al was great. I worked with Al a lot very early in my career. Yeah. Like, I would do like week-long seminars with him, and he was so helpful. But I remember, and he told me this, he goes, I'm going to give you some advice that's going to go completely over your head, and 6 months from now, it'll all make sense. Just write it all down. Okay. And he was right. He was saying things that I was like,
what did he say?
Oh my God. Like, just the psychology of matches, like the importance of anytime you hit a move, why would you ever pick a guy back up? Why wouldn't you just pin him? He's down. You could win the match that way. Just all little tricks like that at the time, you in your mind have this, oh no, this is the way that a match goes, or why can't I just pick a guy up and do? But his mindset on psychology was so smart, and there's so many ways you can take that thought process and institute it into a new school mentality too. But he was so incredibly helpful. He would just talk and talk.
Stayed in touch at all?
I haven't talked to him too much.
He would be so proud.
But I hope so. I love Al Snow.
I gotta find out if I still have his contact number. Okay. If it's still legit, because I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah,
I would love to be like, your guy that you trained for, early on. Wow, sure. That's amazing.
He was awesome.
And now your girlfriend,
yes,
Britt.
Yes.
Talk to me. How did you guys meet?
So, kind of through wrestling. We were, like, I think she had maybe friended me on Facebook, and I had friended her back, like that. And I saw, because, like, wrestlers will follow other wrestlers, that type of thing. Yeah. And we were talking a little bit over Facebook, and then we kind of stopped talking. And then she was booked for a Ring of Honor show that I was on, so we had met and we're talking there a little bit. And there was something about her that I just really wanted to get to know her more. Yeah. And I had sent her a message, and we were talking, and I had asked her out, and she told me she didn't date wrestlers. So I said, I egged her on. I was like, oh, come on.
Except for this wrestler.
Yeah, right.
There's always one that breaks it.
Right. And I said, oh, it's just a date. Let's talk and eat some food and get to know each other a little bit. Come on. Eventually she said yes. But we lived far apart. So for the first portion of our relationship was long distance.
Oh, wow.
We're like 3.5 hours apart, which isn't crazy, but, it's a drive. So we met. We drove 2 hours to the middle in like State College somewhere. We went to a TGI Fridays at 6 o'clock. Okay. And we stayed there for 6 hours.
Oh,
and just talked the whole time. And at that point, we had planned to go on another date about a month later. And I remember getting in the car, and 10 minutes in the car, I said, hey, I know we had talked about getting together a month later. What are you doing Sunday?
Awesome.
And then we hung out again on Sunday, and then we hit it off.
How many years?
Wonderful, like 2.5 years at this
Okay.
point. But just such an amazing. She's the hardest working person I know. She's so sweet and so kind, so thoughtful about me all the time. I haven't been. She's only my second serious relationship. I was in a really long-term relationship before that. Then I didn't have a girlfriend for a while because I was like done with. I was like, I was in such a long-term relationship. And then I met Britt. But no one has made me feel as loved as she does. Oh. She's so sweet, and just she's crazy. She works as a dentist full-time during the week and then wrestles on the weekends.
So I didn't know
It's
if that
crazy.
was just I mean, I knew she was a dentist, but I thought it was like she wasn't practicing.
No, she's currently practicing.
That's insane.
Yeah, she in
So
Orlando.
what is she going to do when she goes full-time with the other organization?
Sure. Well, now the fortunate thing with the other organization is apparently the schedule is not that insane. So she might wrestle seriously, well, maybe once a week, but the dental office will give her that day off.
Oh, okay.
And then she'll replace it with other days.
But it's not like the 3 or 4 days a week?
No.
Every week?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
So she's still able to, because she is passionate about still wanting to be able to, she went to school for 8 years.
Yeah.
She's like, if I can do dentistry and wrestle at the same time, that would be ideal. And she loves it. So, but she also loves wrestling too. So it's cool. It's crazy that, again, a doctor and then also a wrestler. At the same time.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to get her on Chasing Glory. And
I
get
know.
her to
She would love to talk to you. She would love to talk to you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So for you, what is it that when you get called over, and I always say called over instead of called up, because to me,
I like it.
Seriously, I just had this conversation with someone else. It's NXT, it's Raw, it's SmackDown.
I agree.
They are all like just different brands.
Yeah.
It's not one's higher than the other.
Sure.
When you get called over, who is it that you really want to face? Who is it that you're like, I gotta get that person?
So part of me, I normally say AJ Styles, but I've worked with AJ before.
Okay.
So I don't want to pick someone I've worked with. The guy who I really want to wrestle, who I've never worked with before in my life, is Seth Rollins. Really bad. He was a guy who, he was leaving Ring of Honor. Literally, he had his farewell match the day I got signed in Ring of Honor.
Wow.
So we just missed each other. And he was a guy I was always a fan of. I think he's fantastic now. He's been fantastic for years.
Yeah.
I love his mentality on wrestling.
God, you guys look like brothers.
Right,
You
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Well,
the funny thing, speaking of Twitter very much wants this match to happen. I get we need Seth Rollins versus Adam Cole. I get that one all the time.
It would be amazing.
But I would love to.
Have you talked to him?
Yeah, we've talked. I mean, not extensively, but anytime we're in the same locker room, we'll chat for a little bit and things
Have you
like
told
that,
him
so.
that you would love to face him?
I have not, but I
He
think
will find out
I
now.
think he knows. Yeah. No, I think it's been brought up too in interviews with him, and he's been very complimentary of me as well. I'm always very complimentary of him. I think he's absolutely one of the best in the world at this job. So he's a guy, especially because I haven't had the chance to work with him before. He's a guy I'd love to get in the ring. But now the roster's so stacked. Like AJ, Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler. There's so many good guys up there.
Yeah.
So many good ones.
And at NXT, who do you want to face?
I'll tell you, I've definitely worked with him before. But as far as a big stage takeover match, me and Matt Riddle have incredible chemistry. So he's a guy I feel like if we had the chance to, 20-25 minutes on a takeover card in front of that crowd, I feel like we could really do something special.
Oh, that's cool.
He's a guy I'd really like to
see
get
if that
in there
happens.
with. Yeah,
there's a
I
lot
hope so.
that happens once it's said here on Chasing Glory.
I
don't know what it is.
Hopefully
but
we're putting it out in the universe.
Good juju here.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so tell us as we wrap this up. First of all, what's one thing that fans would be surprised to know about you?
I think I've been somewhat recently open about it, but I'm a giant video game nerd.
Oh, you are?
Massive.
Oh, so you and AJ Styles.
Yeah, big time.
Okay.
In my free time, but before when I was younger, it was much more into like going out and dancing and all that stuff. And then as wrestling has gone on, and I talk about being more and more sore, when I am home, I want to do something where I kind of sit down for a little bit. And gaming is just because it's intriguing to the mind and the problem solving and the storytelling. Like I'm so into. There are times where I'll have lines for promos from a evil character in a video game. Like video games now are so creative and well written that it's like a film that you're playing.
Wow.
It's not just the basic guy saves the girl or whatever.
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong, right. So I love, absolutely adore video games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Big time.
So I'm sure you want to be like, even AJ Styles, I remember him saying, I want to be on the cover of the video game. And then that year, he got the cover of the video game.
Yep.
That a dream for you?
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. But my first WWE game officially that I was in was last year's.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the coolest things to me was not only being in the game, which is awesome, but on Xbox, they have achievements where if you do something in the game, you unlock it, and it gives you a trophy.
Yeah.
So pretty much the important things in the game. And there's a secret trophy in the game called Bebe, and it's win a match as Adam Cole. And I thought that was so cool that I had my own achievement. I was like, that's awesome.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was really neat. Really neat.
So has your chase for glory looked the way you thought it was going to look?
Not at all. And that's not a bad thing.
Because you knew you wanted to be a wrestler.
I knew I wanted to be a wrestler.
But the journey's been different.
The journey's been so different.
What did you think it was going to be
when
you envisioned it?
In my mind, I was going to, when I was 12 years old, I was going to train to be a wrestler. I was going to go right to Raw, and I was going to go right to SummerSlam, and right to WrestleMania.
Oh, wow.
And I was going to be the Intercontinental Champion. And then if I did good with that, I was going to be the WWE Champion. At that time, I knew nothing about the world of wrestling. I watched WWE, that was it. Yeah. So I didn't know anything about the independents in Japan and Mexico and Europe and all these places that you could go and hone your craft. So when I first started wrestling and working, at this point I was aware of the independent promotions, but kind of building my name up in the Northeast of the independents, and then finally getting out to Chicago and getting out to LA, my first tour of Japan, getting to live in Europe for 2 months and wrestle every day, traveling up and down the road and learning that style, getting to go to Mexico and learning more lucha libre, like all stuff that I would not change like at all. It helped create the wrestler that I am today to then finally end up here. It's absolutely, I wouldn't change it for the world. Getting the chance to travel the world and travel the globe and learn all these different styles is something that I feel is invaluable to me. So, again, not what I imagined, but better than what I imagined. Did you
try to go to WWE first?
Yeah. So kind of. So when I had started wrestling independently, at that point, I was a big fan of independent promotions. So I did have goals like, I'd love to wrestle for Ring of Honor. I'd love to. But I had actually had 2 tryouts.
Oh, you did?
Before. I had 1 tryout when I was 19, which, again, they didn't even take a look at me. Like, were not interested at all. And then I had
because your age?
My age, my height, my size. I was,
wow.
Yeah. So, and I just looked so young in the face, too. Like, I was...
Yeah, because you still look young.
Right. I was, like, 19 years old. But then I had another tryout where... it was like one of the last FCW tryouts, and I was a unanimous yes, to the point where I thought, for sure this is happening, I got to get ready to move. And then last minute it was said, it's a not right now, it's not a no forever, it's just a no, not right now. And that motivated me even more. I remember being so upset, but then I had the run of my life on the independents. And I don't think I would be in the position, like, I'm so glad that happened.
Yeah.
Because if I would have gone at that point, I would have been indie guy that we don't know. And, hopefully he does well. He's not a big guy, so we'll see. We'll just try stuff with him.
Right.
Because they said no, and then I built up this name, I got to come to WWE as Adam Cole, which was great. So who knows what would have happened if I had come before.
It's almost like AJ Styles.
Yeah, exactly.
By the time he got here, man, it was like,
right.
He's a star.
For sure.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
It is cool.
So Intercontinental Championship.
And that still a goal someday.
That I was going to say. How special will that be? Because that's your the young kid?
My mom showed me a book a couple of weeks ago because I just had my 30th birthday and I got to be home with my family. And she goes, read this. And I wrote it in 3rd grade. And on the back of the page, it said, someday I want to become a WWE superstar. My ultimate dream is to become the Intercontinental Champion. Wow. Hopefully it happens someday.
Wow.
And that was in 3rd grade.
That's
so
awesome.
I absolutely
Why the Intercontinental
hope so.
Championship?
I don't know if it was like so some of my favorites had the Intercontinental Championship. Like, I remember The Rock had the Intercontinental title and Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and all those guys. And then I'm sure there was a part of me that was like, I don't want to put too much pressure on myself.
Oh, to go for the like WWE Championship.
Like, yeah, I'll fight for the Intercontinental title, but I can't fight. Yeah, who am I to think I'm going to be WWE champion someday?
Well, I see both of them in your future.
Oh, thank you.
You continue the way you are. Dude, it's like the sky's the limit for you. Congratulations, really, for what you have accomplished thus far, and I can't wait to continue to see your journey. This is awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being on Chasing Glory. Tell everybody how they find you on social media.
Yeah, so Twitter and Instagram is both Adam Cole Pro. And that's pretty much all I use. I don't really use... I think there's a Facebook fan page out there somewhere for me, which might be Adam Cole Pro as well. But generally, as far as the best way to get in touch with me or see recent updates of what I'm doing is Twitter and Instagram, and that's Adam Cole Pro.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chasing Glory with Lilian Garcia.
And there you have it. Adam Cole. Blows my mind.
Blows my mind.
Right?
Honestly, that was great. And also, I think it's so cool how, like, you get to know these superstars. We see them on the screen. We get to know them as a character. But now, through your show, we get to know them as a person. And it's amazing. So that was an amazing interview. You just keep delivering, girl.
Thanks. You know what, though? It's also the superstars are willing to come on here, just like you, when you gave your Chasing Glory story, and really talk about the struggle, too. And that's one thing that I know that the fans have really loved, is hearing that, because it gives them hope. Right. When they're in the struggle, that they go, wait a minute, that superstar made it, and they were enduring this, so that means I can make it. Yeah. So make sure you guys spread it. Tell your friends about it. Make sure you continue the 5-star rating. 5-star rating! And even for my birthday, can you please continue those?
She has one birthday wish.
Yes.
Continue the 5-star rating.
And the reviews, because that helps the show, which means it helps it get to more people, which means we help more people out there that are struggling.
And she reads them, and that gives her feedback, and she builds on that. So, like, that's very important. That's
all right. And make sure you subscribe also to youtube.com/Lilian Garcia. And just,
and make sure you have a stratifying day, evening, or morning. Okay.
I always say, much peace, love, and passion. And remember, above all, always be yourself and trust that it's enough. See you guys. Bye.
Bye. Let's have some cake.
Let's have some cake. Okay.
Thanks for joining us here on Chasing Glory from executive producer Lilian Garcia. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends and be sure to subscribe at Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your favorite shows.